crypto-linked stocks are also on the rise with Bitcoin. There's another thing going on in Washington here. President Trump says the House is on track to pass the Genius Act stablecoin bill today. This would be the first big legislative victory for digital asset advocates. One CEO following this news closely, Anthony Soohoo of MoneyGram, I would say that the stablecoin bill is something that did see just a little bit of a hiccup yesterday, but now looking like it's closer to passing. Anthony, thank you for joining us here at the desk. Really interesting movement here when it comes to stablecoins, acceptance, rules of the road, traditional financial players like yours being able to use them. What role are they going to play, and how much, from your view, could it change the future of money?
I think stablecoin is going to touch every part of the economy. In fact, when we think about technology and how it adapts, I think the crypto space was waiting for something that could be legitimized by the government, but more importantly, stablecoin in and of itself is a killer app for crypto. And so what I mean by that is, just like the spreadsheet in the past unleashed the PC era, the browser unleashed the internet, I think that stablecoin is going to touch every part of our economy and the way we're looking at it at MoneyGram is that it's going to touch how we run our back office in terms of how we work with our suppliers and how we pay them, so all the way to how we deliver and allow our customers to access programmable money on a day-to-day basis.
Why is it even more efficient or cheaper in some fashion than regular way money? Is there something that's too friction-filled about the current financial system that you have the likes of major retailers like an Amazon that would consider making stablecoin in order to create a new payment mechanism?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that stablecoin first has an infinite ledger, so at any point in time you can basically track the whole history of money. But in addition, the thing that's really great about it is it allows for real-time settlement. So what that means is organizations that are working with capital, you actually do not need to pre-fund or forecast. In fact, you just kind of transact when the transaction's actually happening. And we're talking about sending money across the globe, which sometimes can take up to 48, 72 hours to settle. When you think about some of the networks like SWIFT, that's going to be able to be enabled in real time. So that's a huge unlock and will lower the cost in terms of doing so, because the cost of capital, the float, gets eliminated with stablecoin.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch this evolution, to see non-native, non-crypto companies come in and think about launching their own stablecoins. And I'll toss the question to you. When you think about your own business, could you see MoneyGram launching its own stablecoin?
Well, it's certainly a possibility. Then we certainly are thinking through this. I think in early stages right now, what we plan to do is look at how we deliver services to our customers from a B to B to C perspective. And what I mean by that is how we operate our treasury and how we actually manage and pre-fund our operations. And that's probably going to be the first area that we're going to be innovating in. And then as we look out, there could be a possibility that we'll offer our own stablecoin. It's too early to tell, but we're certainly learning about it. And I do think that this is a very exciting moment for money.
Well, keep us updated on that point. I do want to talk about how you see this evolving because, you know, as Sonali just walked through, you have a lot of companies thinking about launching their own stablecoins. Do you really need an environment where there's so many different stablecoins, or does it make more sense for everyone to just sort of coalesce around one?
That's a great question, and I think we'll find out. I mean, if you think about the world, there are a lot of different fiat currencies that exist today because for one reason or another, some might be due to every country's federal reserve to, you know, controlling how they really want to manage their economy. So I think a lot of that stuff's going to play out, and if you think about kind of how the global economy works, there is one that's in somewhat a global currency, which is USD. And I think that there could be something like that plays out, but you'll have other currencies on top, like other forms of stablecoin that will ride on top of the value of something like USD.
A couple of months ago, I spoke to you back at the Goldman Sachs Leveraged Finance Conference, and we were talking about your path as the CEO of this company. You're just over 8 months into the job, less than 9 months. You said at the time that you would like to take this company public again. This would be a goal of yours. So how should investors be thinking about that path?
Well, I think I'm very excited about the refounding moment of MoneyGram. The company's been around for 80 plus years. And, you know, in terms of refounding, what we're trying to do is take the best parts of the organization while updating and rethinking how we do business. And one of them certainly is stablecoin. The other area is AI and how do we enable and operate in an environment like that. You know, I'm very excited about the leading indicators after 8.5 months of what we're seeing in the business. In fact, one of the biggest areas in terms of our digital transformation is we went from a business that was about 18% digital back in 2019 to today it's close to 70%. And as we kind of evolve out and we play and evolve into this environment where AI plays a big role, stablecoin plays a big role, as well as overall rethinking how we enable and make the workforce more productive. I think that IPO, if we get it right, will certainly be in our path, but it's a little too early for us to say when.
Well, really looking forward to following that journey. Appreciate you taking the time with us today. That is Anthony Soohoo, the CEO of MoneyGram.